I finally finished The Last Argument of Kings by Joe Abercrombie. This is the third book in the First Law trilogy, which means I can finally talk about this series as a whole. I'm afraid I'm going to upset a lot of people about this one. First Law trilogy was good. It was good. I'll start with the pros of this book. The character work, absolutely phenomenal. If you're somebody that loves character work, you're going to love this book. The characters are great. You love them, you hate them. Watching these characters grow throughout this series is top notch. I mean, I've never read better. The writing style of this book is very good. It was an easy read. Everything flowed really well. I assume that means the pros were good. I don't actually know what pros are. But let's get into the cons for me as a reader, because those things might be what tickles your fancy. For me, I'm a very visual reader. When I read, I'm there. I'm in the story. I'm immersed. I'm part of the team. So when a book or book series doesn't have a plot or story, the world building isn't as top tier, and the magic system isn't as explained, I find it hard to sink myself into the story. That's what I felt here. The entire time, I just felt like I was getting edged. I was almost there. Everything was so close to what I wanted it to be, but I never quite got there. And I'm not gonna lie, I almost DNF'd the first book, but I powered through because everybody talks about this series so highly. And the second book was better. It got there, it kind of got the point across. There was a couple letdowns that I was upset about, but then I mulled it over and I was like, okay, it's kind of the point. I was interested enough to read the third book, and this was, in my opinion, by far the best out of the three. It was more action, it was faster paced. That being said, it was still kind of a slow burn, which I'm not a fan of. I know some people love slow burns. Me, I like all gas. That being said, would I recommend the First Law trilogy to somebody? Yes, I would. But I'd leave with the caveat of only if you know you don't have a book to read you know you'll love. Let me know down in the comments below what you thought about the First Law trilogy, if I'm alone in my assessment or not. I'm not a super critical reader breaking down the innuendos and all that kind of stuff. I just go based on what I feel, and I felt slow with this series. Even the third book that I thought was the best, I found myself putting it down a lot, getting distracted with things. It wasn't quite there for me. And that's all I can say. That's how I felt. Love, bye.